What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host, Chad Medved. I don't say that a lot, but I feel like I might start saying it a little bit. You know, I'm proud of what I do. My name's Chad Medved. Nice to meet you. I have a huge announcement this week. I mean, an absolutely insane announcement. I can't even believe I'm saying it. But I'll Call You Right Back podcast is now proudly fueled by Turner's Premium Iced Tea. I mean, can you even believe that that's a possibility? You know, I'm beside myself. Turner Dairy Farms is a 90-year-old family-owned dairy farm right in Penn Hills, you know, very local to where we are, and they are the creators of Turner's Premium Iced Tea. I mean, Turner's is just, you know, people know what it is. You say, I want a Turner's, you know, I'm going to go get a Turner's. You know, people aren't saying, I want to go get iced tea. People are saying, you know, I want a Turner's. You know, they call by the name because that's the respect that it has. And growing up, I mean, listen to me. The Turner family is absolutely now a sponsor of this podcast, but I mean, I'm not going to blow any smoke up their ass because that they are. I am genuinely a fan of Turner's iced tea. And I've been a fan since I was a very young kid. You know, I grew up in McKeesport. I mean, I think on my podcast that I did with Steve Turner, I think he said that they sell an exorbitant amount of tea in McKeesport, which makes a lot of sense because whenever I was growing up there, I mean, anywhere you look, Turner's tea, baseball dugouts, basketball courts, playgrounds. I mean, in your fridge in your garage, in your fridge in your back porch. You know, it was synonymous with Pittsburgh. You know, people say Heinz ketchup, people say Mikey and Big Bob, people say Mr. Rogers, and right there you got Turner's Premium Iced Tea. And whenever I say that I'm proud to say that they are sponsors of I'll Call You Right Back, I mean, I say that with all of my heart. They are, you know, that's Pittsburgh. To have someone like Turner's Tea backing my podcast and what I do, I mean, you know, it almost makes me emotional. And I cannot thank the entire Turner organization for, you know, giving me a chance and an opportunity to represent their brand in a different way. You know, I'm just a podcast. I'm just some kid who is, I guess I'm not a kid anymore, but some guy who talks to interesting people. And, you know, I just bullshit with people, you know, hour and a half every week. I mean, I guess they see something in what I do, and that means a lot to me. So from now until however long it lasts, I'll Call You Right Back is absolutely, proudly fueled by Turner's Premium Iced Tea. So you're going to be hearing me talk about them and, you know, why, I mean, who wouldn't want to talk about them? But Turner's has a limited edition flavored milk that is out right now. You could find it. It is chocolate covered strawberry. And so Turner's, they do these like limited edition milks. They had chocolate marshmallow. They have all different kinds of these limited edition milks. And this one is a little bit special. So Turner's will donate 10 cents per half gallon and 5 cents per pint to Dr. Bill Nietzsche's Heart Camp for kids at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh of UPMC. And again, that's if you buy the limited edition chocolate-covered strawberry milk. And, you know, Turner's is everywhere, so go to a gas station. You know, go to a gas station, see if they have the limited edition milk there. If they don't have it there, request it from them. You know, tell them that you want the milk there. But if you really want to find it and you can't go without the chocolate strawberry limited edition milk, you could go on their website. Their website is turnerdairy.net. And if you go to that website in the top right corner, you could click the tab that says find it, put in your zip code, and it will explain exactly where everything is. Like, let's let's put, for instance, 15205. That's my zip code right now. I hit search, and if you go through, you could scroll through all of the locations that carry the Turner's brand, and it says right there, it says they carry the premium teas, they carry the fresh creams, they carry the limited edition milks. So if you are looking for the chocolate strawberry milk and you want to help Dr. Bill Niche's cause and the little kids that have the little kids of Children's Hospital, go there, buy a chocolate covered strawberry milk, and help some people out while you're doing it. And if not, grab one of them Thug Jugs of Turner's premium iced tea. It's strange for me to talk about a brand. This is my first time really doing it. I'm sponsored by Streets on Carson. I talk about them, but Turner's is they're a sponsor. I want to represent their brand the right way. So this is a learning process for me. This is my first time. I'm sure I will get better and better at it as time goes on. But the reason that everyone is here this week, I talked to a set of great people, and yes, I said a set, meaning two, and they are the McCloskey brothers. Clay and Cole McCloskey are 24-year-old kids from Pittsburgh who, I don't know why I keep saying kids, 24-year-old adults who created something great. Hounds USA is a collective of creative minds that specialize in helping you execute something outside of the box and doing it well. They do their own projects. They do very, very interesting things. They do rugged wear. They do special events. They do, build outs. They're literally there to help you do whatever you would want to do. The Hounds have built a great team since they began, and now they are taking over the city. They do events. They help people out with build outs. They do just a lot of unique stuff. This whole episode is fantastic. We talk about coffee. We talk about growing up. We talk about how you figure out how you want to be an entrepreneur and how you want to kind of step out of the box and do things a little bit differently. And Clay and Cole were awesome people. I love talking to them and I love learning about them. And the rest of their team, obviously it's hard enough for me to interview two people. I wish that I could have had the rest of them in here, but they spoke very highly of the rest of their team. And it just seems that they have a whole group of people that are just killers at what they do. Everyone from music production to video production to construction, anything you need. I'm very excited to drop this episode this week. So without further ado, episode 104 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with the Hounds.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. I just told him, I was like, yo, dude, I know about you from Kennywood memories and maybe some other shit, but I don't know too much of his work. And,
yeah.
I wasn't trying to kiss his ass and pretend, but I just, it was interesting to learn about him. But
it's just cool either way to be there with him. So I get that.
It was so wild because we talked and then he was I messaged him on Instagram and I was like, yo, dude, I would love to have you on. And he was like, oh, I got to talk to PBS or WQED and they got to okay it. So I was like, that's never going to happen. And then he messaged me a week later and he was like, I'm down. And then I know he's a big food guy. So
That's right.
That's what I always see.
Huge food guy.
That's what I always say.
And then I hit him up and I was like, after we record, I'd love to take you to Streets because you guys ever eat there? Streets or
I have
Carson?
not, but I always
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah, they're
every
fire.
time I'm because I'm not usually over in the South Side that often.
Yeah.
But when I am, I always pass. I'm like, oh man, I wonder how that is.
That's the place. They're also good friends. They're sponsors of the podcast, but
nice.
I linked up with them because they I interviewed the chef there, Matt. He was he won best chef in the city. I interviewed him a year ago, and we just kind of became friends. And he I talk about it on here all the time because I get on there and eat all the time. Yeah. And he was like, fuck it, like I'll sponsor you. And I was like, all right, cool.
That's great. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like kind of, I don't know. There's so many people to talk to, and like I only do one a week, so it's like it's hard to kind of curate the people that I have on, because I don't want it to be like, you know, rapper, and then someone real random. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm trying to like.
I get that, and there's so many people that, like you said, there's so many people that you could choose. Where it's like you want to make sure that it's outside the box, something that like another podcast in Pittsburgh hasn't either, you know, gotten to yet.
Yeah.
Something that like something new and fresh.
There's a lot of cool people.
Yeah, there's
a lot of people that are doing cool stuff that I like don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And like I tell people that like the reason that I started is because you know, like we're all like stuck in our 9 to 5s. If you do have a 9 to 5, but like I just like work with piping all day. I draw pipes all day, and it's like I'm interested about like, you know, funeral directors. I'm interested in like DJ shit. I'm interested in like artwork, and this is just like a way for me to kind of learn more about it all. Yeah. Kind of get a behind the scenes.
It's a nice outlet for you to have so that you can like get away from that 9 to 5 and be actually able to
create.
dig into what you love.
And it's weird because like, you know, if I would see you guys, like let's say I saw you guys at a restaurant and like I come up and talk to you, like I saw you guys at the Creatives.
Creatives Drink.
Yeah, the Creatives Drink, and you know, I saw you for a second, and like we're in passing, you know, I could just say what's up, but there's no time for us to like kind of sit down, and you know, you don't have time to have an hour and a half long conversation with anyone just like out in the open.
Right.
And it's kind of like, this gives it kind of like a reason to, because if I hit someone up and I'm like, yo dude, you just want to come over for like an hour and like talk about stuff, you know, people might think that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But if there's a reason, it kind of is, plus it's beneficial for everyone.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's like people have a chance to like learn about you.
Oh, for sure.
But like I said, I've known about you guys for a while. I've seen yous making waves around with like, I mean, I know yous do the art installments. I know yous do like, you make your own clothes, artwork, construction. I mean, music, all kinds of shit. And like, I think it's pretty interesting. So how long have you guys known each other? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, 24 years.
I mean, I assumed that you guys were brothers, but like, you never know. Like, I swear I've talked to someone and I was like, are you guys, I asked someone before, I was like, are you guys twins? They were like, no, I'm like a year and a half older than them. And I was like, oh, all right then.
I mean, that happens. There's a lot of people that just like look so similar. And
yeah.
You never, especially if they're not, some like may just be like a year or two apart, or like some, and so it's not going to be that, they're not going to be that different looking.
Absolutely. Know? Who's older?
He is.
I am. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yep.
Now, do you guys have like the weird like the lore that everyone hears about, like twins and stuff like that? Like, do you guys like have that?
Honestly, I don't think we do, but I do think there is a connection in a way that's like true, because I mean, think about it, we've lived our whole lives together.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's like living with, I mean, it's like if you're living, it's different with like brothers and sisters, because we literally went through school the same, you know, same grade.
A lot of our experiences have been similar.
So we do have a lot.
Like I have a brother who's 6 years older than me. We don't have the same experiences, but like you guys are the same age, same classes and everything. So I assume that would be you have more of like a, you know, a common denominator. But
definitely, it's like certain connections, certain things that we just know. We like can look at each other and just click. And
yeah.
I mean, it is. There is, you know, things like that, but it's not like I can read his mind.
No, like the whole, you know, like if you feel pain, if you get hurt, are they going to feel pain? Because if that's true, I was in someone totaled my car and I was in a car accident in April, so hope he didn't feel that, you know.
I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Just imagine that, like, oh man, broke.
I didn't feel it. No. Now, the reason I asked you guys that is because like I definitely don't ever interview more than one person at a time. I did it with Mikey and Bob, but my thought behind them was, you know, I originally wanted to interview them separately. I was like, you know, people, they're like a unit though. Like they were like, it'll be hard for us to get separation, so why don't we just do it all at once? Yeah. And I was like, and then I was like, you know what, that'll work. They've been together, like they've basically been working together and been friends for their entire lives, so they kind of have that common denominator. But I figured you guys would be a good kind of introduction into like multiple guest podcasts, because you guys vibe, I'm sure, off each other.
You know, it's funny, when we did our last podcast, Deke was saying, he was like, it's weird. Like, I noticed that, you know, sometimes there might be multiple people on a podcast, and like when they want to say something or kind of, you know, they have an idea like, oh, let me tell you about this. Like, it might be kind of awkward when they like come in while someone else is maybe ending a sentence or like talking. But he said with us, it was almost like cues, like we knew when someone was coming in.
That's
it was
cool.
like just.
That's
instant.
cool. That's,
so that's kind of sweet.
That's the reason I worry about it, and I don't have more than one guest, is because like whenever, I mean, I talk enough already. Like, I talk way too much, and I always talk over people, and I apologize ahead of time. But
okay.
You know, I just feel that more than one guest at a time is kind of distracting. You know what I mean? Just because like everyone's talking and you don't know what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. But that's just like my personal opinion whenever I'm listening to podcasts. Do you guys listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. One of our favorite podcasts is Cookies podcast.
Cookies? Like
Cookies
Burner?
Hoops.
Oh, Cookies who?
Hoops. Like
Hoops.
basketball. Yeah.
Who is it?
So Cookies Hoops is 3 guys from New York. And it's just like, it's more of a fun basketball podcast. It's not like a serious sports one.
Yeah.
They like just goof off the whole time. They talk about a bunch of other things, but the base is basketball.
It's like a comedy podcast.
Right.
With
it's like they'll talk about like, you know, even pop culture, things going on right now, or like, you know, things going on in their life, kind of, or like maybe like reminisce on certain history things, but it's like, they all try to revolve like at some point, like, all right, we got to bring it back to basketball. But like,
that makes sense.
It's really great.
Very fun
podcast.
That's good. I like comedy podcasts.
Yeah, that one, and then Jesus and Miro is another one.
They're great.
One.
Really, really
dudes.
great. They're killing it, and it's wild.
Yeah, I love seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, like, were they on HBO?
Yeah,
Showtime.
Showtime.
They started on
nuts.
Viceland. So,
Yeah.
And that was amazing when they started out with that.
It's nuts, dude. It's nuts to see where podcast is going. But all right, so before we get too deep into it, I do an opening segment with all my guests. It's called "What's in the Cup."
What's in the cup?
All right.
What's in your cup?
Oh man, it's a beautiful nectar. I haven't even had a sip. I didn't want to drink it yet, just in case you wanted to introduce it.
Oh, I've been sipping.
Go ahead.
Oh, man.
What do you think about it? For real. So you guys are coffee connoisseurs.
I definitely like it. It's a darker roast, I've noticed. Is that something that you go for?
Yeah, I love dark roast.
No, I totally get that.
I love big coffees.
Just like a bold flavor.
Yeah, bold. The reason I say big is Rick Seebeck, that's how he described it. He was like, it's a big, full cup of coffee. And I thought that was a good way to describe it. Because I could say dark, but, you know, like, I've had dark roasts that like taste like a medium roast that are not dark enough, but I definitely go for it to be like kind of some jet fuel.
So what is the name behind this one? Well, like, what is the name of it?
So this one is the Christmas Spirit one.
This is the Christmas.
This is the Christmas Spirit one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is I have so whenever I make it, I keep like a QP tucked for myself because I rip through coffee a good bit, and this is like the last of the pound. But for it being the end of November, I'm still pretty happy with how it tastes.
Yeah,
oh, definitely,
super tasty.
Yeah, it's definitely good. So, like, where does your coffee like love come into play? Because I know you work at Reginald's.
Yep, Reginald's. I love Reginald's. I mean, the owners of it are great. Matt and Julie are just wonderful people.
Yeah.
They have a great business plan.
And you kind of have a connection with Matt because one of his best friends is your
my brother.
Yeah.
So like I've known him so before he even got into like Reginald's, he for our, I think it was my brother's bachelor party, he brought down like a hand grinder and like some coffee that he had, and I'm always real inquisitive about it, and like that was like, you know, I've been getting into coffee over probably like the past like 3 years. I used to hate it. I used to hate coffee more than anything, and I used to be like, if I would get one, I would get a Starbucks Frappuccino bottle,
all the flavors.
And like my wife is like
dessert,
like hissing at me and stuff because she worked at a Starbucks for like 5 years, so she kind of like fell in love with it all. She drinks coffee heavy, but Matt ended up bringing his stuff down, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is I don't remember if it's something that he roasted. I think it's just whenever he got his roaster.
Okay, right.
So it might have been something that he did, but it was great.
Yeah, but our love for coffee started like a while ago. I think we didn't drink it when we were kids. Obviously, we grew up a little bit, like, because you couldn't. I mean, you shouldn't be really giving coffee to kids,
for sure.
But our dad always drank coffee.
Yeah.
And that was just something like smelling that in the morning. It's just like we always loved that. And even like growing up, we might have like coffee flavored things like, like an ice cream or something like
that makes sense.
Like at DQ, they had the moo lattes and
yeah.
stuff like that. You remember this? So like
I do remember that.
Stuff like that. And that's what we really enjoyed that. And as we got older, then we really started to kind of be like, let's actually get more into coffee and like actually drink coffee. And
because I was looking at your website and I seen that Ian's had like that latte. What was it? The latte brawl?
Oh no! So we had the latte art throwdown.
Was that was that the first one in 2017 that I saw?
Oh, so yeah, that was the first. We've had two. We did one actually back in Morgantown.
Yeah.
With a really good friend of ours, Rusty. He has a coffee shop in Morgantown.
Roaster.
Roaster coffee shop. Mountaineer Roasting. And he just wanted to have a throwdown at his space, and he's like, hey, can you guys kind of like help with the creative direction behind it and music, things like that? And we're like, oh yeah, definitely. So we did that with him, and that was like a little bit more. We weren't as involved as we wanted to be, but it's just because we didn't want to step on his toes. Because
absolutely,
it was one of his first ones, and but it was awesome that he invited us to be a part of it, and it was really cool. But then the second one we did, which was last year, was actually with Reginald's.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's for the Pittsburgh Latte Art Throwdown series.
And I mean, like, I don't know if I've ever, like, I think that you guys were probably the first ones to like do that I've seen. I mean, I'm sure other places someone's done it, but I've never seen anyone else around here do it. And I thought it was pretty cool. So, like, what is that basically? Like, people just doing latte art?
So, yeah, it's a competition, and anyone can come. Like, it's just like a spectator. Like, anyone can come and watch it. But then you have, basically, we did the bracket almost like March Madness in a way.
Yeah.
So, it's just like a bracket type format, and everyone goes up against each other, and it just comes down to like the last two. And we had multiple coffee shops, like different baristas come in, and they were like competing. But it was really fun because we actually had the manufacturer of espresso machines come in, Rancilio.
Oh, really?
Dude, they were awesome. They like helped us out. They were a big sponsor, and their machine was ridiculous.
They were really smart.
How'd you approach them?
Well, they actually hit us up, and I was like really surprised. I think they were like, because they do latte art throwdowns during the year, like they'll sponsor different ones, and I think they're on the East Coast, and they like somehow got a hold of it. I don't know how exactly, and they're like, "Hey, could we like be a part of this?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, for sure, you guys are like awesome,
that's awesome,
so totally."
So
that's really
basically,
cool.
what we did with them was the machine that we were using to make the drinks was one of their espresso machines.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was really
Oh,
nice.
I bet. Yeah, I've been looking into how much all that shit is. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
You gotta save up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of money.
Oh man.
'Cause it's like it's a slippery slope. I mean, once I started roasting this stuff with Black Forge, like that all came to play as far as like, are you familiar with Black Forge?
Yeah.
So like they opened that second location, and like whenever they were doing that, they had a Kickstarter, and one of their packages was called like Beans for Business or some shit, and like you go to that, like you donate to that level, and it says like you get like 20 pounds of coffee. And you could brand it however you want. So I thought it was just going to be like, I walk in there and they give me 20 pre-weighed out pound bags of coffee, and I was just going to throw a label on it. But I ended up going there, and they were like, "No, like you're going to roast it. Like you're just going to learn how to do it."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the roaster Tyler there is like he's a genius. Like he works at Allegheny Roasters too. He's like the head roaster down there, and he just like we kind of just like sat down, and he like took me to school basically, and I roasted the first, second, and third, and the fourth one with him, and he just kind of oversees it all. But it's interesting to like have someone right there to like ask all the questions. Have you guys like did any of the roasting over there?
So I've been with Matt while he's doing it, and he's taught me just basically the basics.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten that deep with him yet. In the future, I will.
Yeah.
It's just been very busy. He's just trying to figure out a set schedule because they sell out so quick.
Oh yeah.
And so he's just trying to figure out like when he should roast on certain days, just so like it meets the customer's needs.
Yeah.
And just they haven't even been open for a year.
Yeah, and it's also such like a crazy touch and go process because if you think about it, a coffee roasts in 10 minutes, 11 minutes. And, you know, in the beginning I was like, I wonder how long it would take. I thought for some reason I envisioned it being like a bunch of beans on like cookie sheets and like, I don't know why I thought that, but it wasn't. But
No.
It's like 1 minute later, 1 minute earlier, and you're going to have a complete different taste.
100%, yeah.
And I think that's so cool, like to like try to, you know, do different batches. I wish I kept some of like each of the ones that I've done so I could like brew them all together and taste the differences. But I mean, I just ripped through them. But this is definitely more fruity than I'm used to. I don't really like a fruity coffee too much.
Okay.
I like a chocolatey finish.
Right.
You know, like more of like a thicker. Like I don't know. I still don't know the terminology to describe the shit.
The flavor notes are like, it's something that you really gotta get more used to it and just keep, especially like if you're doing like cupping.
Yeah,
and things
for
like
sure.
that.
It's not. I mean, I think it gets easier when you start like really paying attention. But like, you know, like, for example, like I didn't even really know how to really like describe it probably till like maybe like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And it was just like once I figured it out, then it was just like came naturally. Especially like I like light roasts a lot.
Oh yeah,
that's my thing.
Same here.
And I love Ethiopian light roasts, especially like naturally processed.
They're naturally washed and everything.
And
now, what do you like about it? Do you like the fruitiness?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know why I like all coffees, but I like that because, and I always tell people this. A lot of people are like, they get coffee and they're like, oh, I got to put a ton of milk in this, a ton of creamer. And it's the one thing with light roast is, and I've done this experiment with people. I'm like, hey, if you drink milk in your coffee, like just don't do it with this light roast. Just try it. And they do, and they're like, "Oh man, I didn't even need milk for that." And I think that's
it's almost like a tea.
In a way, it kind of like brings out some more notes.
Yeah,
like
It definitely does because you're masking it with that like creaminess. If you put milk and creamer in there, so it kind of takes away from it. But like Tyler, the roaster, you know, this dude is like he's like real bougie about it, like into it heavy, got a timed kettle, like a temperature kettle and everything. And you know, he prefers a light roast. Like he loves a light roast and a medium roast because it's just more flavorful for him. And like I can understand that. Like darker roasts kind of like get set into this like umbrella of like almost like it's like almost on the edge of like being burnt. But I don't know. I just prefer that. Maybe it's because I kind of fell in love with coffee through Starbucks.
They do a lot of dark roast.
Yeah, it's all
That's
dark.
like their main. So
it's easier for across the board at every shop because dark roast. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy to do dark roast, but it's a little bit easier because with light roasts, it is easy to make it too green, like not cook it enough, where it almost gets like this vegetative state. Yeah. Where you're like eating or you're drinking and you're like, oh man, it's kind of like tastes a little bit like grass.
Yeah, a little bit like
so it can be tough.
It's interesting how the process of them doing it, because obviously like if you're with like a like a mom and pop roaster like Reginald's or like Black Forge, it's like you could do what you want. And it's kind of like, you know, supply, you make what you need. It's just like supply and just put it out there. But Starbucks is like I was asking the roaster about this. I was like, how the hell does Starbucks do it? And he's like, they basically just have one big conveyor belt and it just like goes through this huge process at once. And, you know, it like you start to think about like, you know, for that big of a scale, there's obviously not as much like, you know, care and like, you know, precision to it. It's kind of just like an umbrella of like just dark roast. Yeah. But I don't know. I get pretty heavy into it. Yeah. I enjoy it. But all right. So like enough about coffee. We're talking everyone's ears off about coffee. But so you guys are from Bethel Park.
Yep. So we moved around a little bit, but we just say Bethel just because like that's where we're at now. Like right now, we're looking at a place in Brookline, so we'll be actually leaving the Bethel area. Yeah. That's where our parents are right now.
That's what's up. Now, where, like, how old are you guys?
24.
24. Okay. Now, how do you, like, you guys have, like, this crazy, like, creative, like, spark between all of you guys, and you guys are doing all this wild shit. And I think what really, like, caught my attention was that basketball.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you guys put so much, like, time and shit into that, and, like, it had to be time because, like, I see, like, the installations and the basketball, like, planters and, like, you know, all that stuff, and it was super impressive to see from, like, an outsider's point of view. I know that shit got to take, like, a long time to put together.
It really does. It's a lot of a lot of calculating and just making sure everything goes right. just because, especially something that big, you don't want it to be half-assed or anything like that.
Yeah. You're putting your name on it. You want it to be perfect.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Because then you can look back at it, and if you look back at it and you're like, man, that was really awesome. That's what you want. You don't want to look back and like, man, I shouldn't have rushed that, or I should have done it this way.
Cutting corners.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, where does like the whole creative like outlook come from with both Ians? I know you just told me before we were recording that Ians have like so what was your majors again?
So when we went to WVU, we got a multidisciplinary studies major, which is 3 minors that equal a major.
Yeah.
And that was music industry, music technology, and entrepreneurial studies. So, we wanted to kind of like corner this like creative market while we were going to school, and we were also working with Hounds while we were in school as well.
Yeah.
But it was just another way to kind of like learn some new things and just get a different outlook, just like through the educational system.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, from some of the professors that we had there, I mean, they're really beneficial. And so from there, we just kind of like create a business plan, understood what we were going to do with Hounds, because we always wanted to do something like a creative agency and production team like we are running right now.
You wanted to do that, though.
This is something that we wanted to do. It's just kind of, it took
like
some
from how
years
long?
to-
Like how old are Ians when Ians get into this idea? Because I knew of nothing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Whenever I was younger, and I feel like that's like a common theme with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like, when does that come into play for you guys?
I think it was pretty young because we've always wanted to do something where we could basically have like a broad creative platform.
Yeah.
And we always were, the one thing that we always like pushed with each other, especially being twins, we're always like, oh man, we have to figure out a new skill, or at least like be like decent at something.
Always
like,
try something
almost
new.
like everything. We try to like be decent at everything.
Yeah.
Just so we could like push ourselves, and if we could be the best at that, we would try as hard as we could.
Yeah.
But
Another thing I think it was helpful is just research.
Research,
We've always been into so many different things, from pop culture, art, history.
Yeah.
And both of us, it was like we could bounce these things off each other, like these new things that we learned.
Yeah, that would be cool to have like a counterpart
Right.
as you're coming up and like growing up. Like my
Exactly.
brother was a little bit older. He was out of the house pretty much whenever I was in there. So I mean, like I had him there, but like I bounced shit off of him. But like to come up with someone that's the same age and almost the same type of person, I feel like that would be super interesting.
yeah, it definitely helped out. I mean,
I know you
Yeah.
guys are crazy into basketball. What
Yeah.
what do you guys like whenever you're younger? You're just like playing sports and shit like that?
a lot of basketball. So the one thing that we really loved with basketball is when we were younger. Our dad actually, with our family, it was home building was like the big thing.
Yeah.
And that's what his dad did, and then my dad's grandfather, and all that. And then he decided, you know what, I'm going to try something different. He became a jeweler, and he was
really?
a jeweler for 18 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's
ran
pretty
his own
cool.
jewelry shop.
It was pretty interesting, and he did a lot of work within the city of Pittsburgh. And so we go to all these little shops, and like while he's doing work, things like that, we'd be checking out like certain courts in the city, or we try to play.
Yeah.
And that was just like a huge thing for us, because there was so many different little courts we could play at, and I think that's what really got it. It was such an easy sport to pick up.
Yeah.
For us at least. And we were always like a little bit bigger kids, so we always felt like we could do pretty well in it, at least a little bit taller than all the other kids.
Yeah.
And it always interested us the most out of all sports. I mean, we had love for all sports. It was just
Absolutely.
something. Basketball was the one.
It's interesting to me because I think that was my least favorite.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think obviously it's because I was a fat kid growing up.
Hey, we were fat kids growing up
It's
too.
like
man.
I just would stand under the hoop at Boys and Girls Club and just toss layups. People would just feed me and I'd just toss them up there. But my brother was always real good at it, so like I would always go to his games and watch them, and like it was always interesting to me. My dad loved it, but I don't know. I liked the idea of it. I liked the players. Dennis Rodman was like one of my heroes growing up.
Yeah, the worm.
Yeah, how couldn't you like a guy like that? And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like basketball. I feel like I have like such a foreign, like I feel like I know nothing about it really. But I don't know. It's interesting that everyone has their own tastes of everything.
Yeah.
Now, like in high school, but in like middle school and everything like that, you guys have like a entrepreneurial mindset? Like, are you like selling shit?
Yeah, it's kind of weird thinking about it, but we really did. I mean, we even started out with like we did a lot of like resale, and then we had our own clothing company, things like that. And it was just something that like it goes back to the research thing. We were researching a lot of these different things going on at that time.
Yeah.
And then after that, and it just kind of like shaped what we wanted to do. And we saw what these people that were like older than us were doing. We were like, oh man, we could do that.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And then it just like grew from there, like into this idea of like a broad creative platform, like a jack of all trades type thing. Where
utility men pretty much
exactly
can do whatever.
And then on top of that, since our dad did build homes, you know, we would help him we would actually work with him. So we learned all these skills, and that's where we get our skills from, actually being able to build these installations. And like, that's where
I think that's so
part
dope.
of our creativity comes from.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I was gonna say was after he was done with jewelry, he went back to building homes, and so like for us, like to make money was like be labor for him, labor work.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like,
that's
work for your dad.
It's the same shit my dad did. He built houses and like, you know, did all that shit. So I was cleaning shit up, do all this.
You know that.
Yeah, it was, I mean, like, it was an interesting time growing up. I feel like I wish I would have enjoyed it more because I feel like whenever I was younger, I didn't give a shit about it.
I get that though. Sometimes it's hard when you're at that age because you're like, man, I don't want to be doing this work. But at the same time,
I just want to be out of here.
If you're doing it, then like try to make the best of it. That's kind of how we looked at it.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, you guys definitely seem like you got some skills. Now, what was your clothing line about?
Oh, so we had a clothing line that we started. It was streetwear, and it was when all like the big boom of like the smaller streetwear companies came out, because you know you had all like the big names already, like Stussy, Supreme, all those guys, and then there was like these like little brands that were popping up, and we're just like, oh man, this is really cool. These people are able to do it themselves, or you know, screen print themselves, things like that. And we were like, oh man, we'll do a streetwear company called Day One. So it was called Day One Clothing, and it was I think more of a way for us to like get our graphic design skills better and things like that. Yeah. You know, and just kind of like learn the ins and outs of business.
So when was this? Like, how old were you guys?
This is more like high school era.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I asked it, like, I did a clothing line too. And I did one in like 2010, 2011. Yeah. And I mean, it was a different time in life. I look back at it and I'm like, why did I put that out? But I'm happy that I did. Like, it was cool to like learn from it.
Oh, definitely.
But it's interesting. I've always kind of had like a entrepreneurial type mind. Like, I've always wanted to kind of like create something and work for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But so I mean, like, you guys did that clothing line, and like, I mean, I assume that dissolved.
Yeah. It did. It was actually dissolved. It's funny. There's actually one of the guys that's a part of the team, one of our best friends, Garrett Urisco, we met him through WVU, and the reason why we met him was because I'd been searching on Google one day, and I was like, I'm just gonna like I'm gonna search up our clothing company, just see if anything pops up. I don't know, some ad, like some type of like anything, whatever it might be. And this thing popped up, and it was like two students at WVU start clothing brand Day One Clothing, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of weird. It was before we even committed to WVU. Yeah. So I'm like, oh man, that's so weird. Like, how do they know we're going to WVU? We haven't even committed yet. And so I clicked on it, and then it pops up, and it's these two redheads that have this clothing brand called Day One Clothing in West Virginia University. And we're like, what? Like,
it was weird.
It wasn't you guys?
It wasn't us. I was like, who are these guys?
Oh, wow.
So
super weird.
Once we got there, it was like literally, it was like the summer before we got there, and I'm like, man, who are these guys? So it just like word went around town, like certain people that we knew were like, oh man, I like how you did that. I'm like, well, we didn't do that. And our buddy Garrett would be like, oh man, they'd be like, I like what you did with that. And he's like,
before we knew him.
Yeah. It's like, you know, like, oh, we like what you did with that. He's like, I didn't do that.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Two redheads that do it.
We met finally, and we thought we were going to have like an issue with each other, but then we became like best friends.
Yeah.
And then
it was just like, instant.
That's cool.
We had so many so many similar interests. So
did that like kind of like put the kibosh on that clothing?
Definitely.
Okay.
I mean, we
were gonna do it
already
anyways.
gonna like
Yeah,
end it
yeah, I
anyways.
get
It's
that.
not something that we wanted to do.
If
like,
it ain't meant to be, like that obviously is like
It's like a sign.
It's a sign.
and
I
he's
did
still, yeah. Wait, go ahead.
I did a clothing shit, and it kind of was the same way. It's like I built this line. It was called Lost Boys, and then I ended up finding something that was spelled different, but it was Lost Boys Inc. But LOSTBOYS Inc. And mine was Lost BOYZ Co. So like I would look it up. I would search like Lost Boys with a Z. Nothing would ever come up. And then like probably like 6 months into it, someone was like, "Yeah, there's another brand." And then I click on their profile. Bam Margera's wearing it. You know, like, and I was like, "Well, that's it." And it completely like deterred. It completely like tore everything out from under me. I was like, I can't do anything else with this. You know, I didn't want anything to be like, I didn't want people to think like I was biting off anyone, even though it didn't look anything alike. This was like a gothic, like vampire, like we love vampires and shit. But,
Which makes sense because Lost
yeah.
Boys.
Well, that's where my shit came from. It was from Peter Pan and like the movie Lost Boys. It's like they both kind of coincided together, but the designs were just like super weird from their shit, but it just made me not want to do it anymore. I just wanted to start fresh. And then like that the next 6 years was kind of like just nothing until I kind of figured out what I wanted to do with the podcast. But that's pretty wild. So like the clothing line, now after the clothing line, I mean, first of all, how did you guys choose that you wanted to go to WVU? I'm curious about that.
So our dad actually went to Fairmont State University, which is literally 30 minutes from WVU, and that's kind of like how we chose, because we wanted to go to Pitt, and then it was too expensive. Oh man, we're never going to be able to afford that. And our dad was like, "Well, I mean, I know the area, so I think you should go to WVU," because he had a really good time at Fairmont State, and he was a part of the Coal Bowl championship teams for Fairmont State, and it was a pretty big deal back then, especially with the basketball team at Fairmont State. Joe Renton was the coach, and he was a pretty big deal. It's Mary Lou Renton's dad, the Olympic.
Oh wow,
Olympian. Yeah,
I didn't put it together.
So they. He was like, "Man, you'd really like WVU," and I was like, "All right, we'll check it out."
You guys liked it?
We liked it. It was nice. It was definitely a different atmosphere because we were so used to Pittsburgh because we spent so much time in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So it was weird to have be
in this small town, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting down there. It's very weird.
It's a good area to go to college. Like, you know, no shade like West Virginia is a great area. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
so many amazing things in West Virginia.
It's also like a Twilight Zone kind of.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
There's a lot of interesting things there, too.
It's like people from my school went to WVU, IUP, and CalU, and Slippery Rock. So it was like we would rotate that every weekend. We would just go party at different schools. And it was like we would go down there, and it just felt different. Almost like kind of how Slippery Rock was. Mm-hmm. You know, Slippery Rock was kind of like secluded a little bit smaller, but like, I don't know. It was just an interesting place. But so you guys went down there, and like you knew that you wanted to go to school for, you know, like your majors. You went for the same thing.
So originally we went for marketing, because we didn't at the time. The music industry program wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah,
but we knew we wanted to do something in the creative field. But marketing, we're like, we're really good at that, so we'll decide with that right now. And as time went on, then we discovered the music industry program that they brought along, and we were like, all right, well, we'll switch our major, and we went with multidisciplinary studies, so we could have the 3 minors that we get with a major.
I never heard of that. 3 minors get a full major. I never heard of that.
It's actually really cool because the way they set it up, the classes that you're taking are actually focused on what you're trying to do. So it's not like you're taking random
fluff classes
where it's like, oh, why am I even taking this? It's like everything felt right.
You're basically creating a major. That's basically what it is.
That's super cool. I feel like that would be way more interesting than just like, you know, having to deal with all the bullshit for the first 2 years and then like you get 2 more years of the stuff that you actually want to learn about.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah. Now, whenever you're doing this, like, I mean, if you're 24, I'm trying to think, like, you're 6 years before me. So were you guys on MySpace?
Oh, yeah.
You better believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I ask people, anyone that are kind of like in the same age. I mean, like, MySpace was such like a weird phenomenon.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having like AOL and AIM, but MySpace was just so much more like personable, so much more like you could fine tune it to however your personality is. And so like, were you guys pretty heavy on like social media? Like, did you get on it a lot?
Yeah, I mean, with especially like MySpace, I mean, like all of our friends had, and you had to customize your profile. Might have like "I'm So Paid" by Akon as a song. Get Allen Iverson as your background. Something crazy, something
Fading
cool.
money signs.
Something fun.
Yeah, do like just some real wild mirror pic. Just like something.
Who's has you in their top friends?
Yeah,
list?
that was
It's-
crazy.
I think about now,
real
it's like
friendships.
how different the world would be if we didn't have MySpace. Because like, I feel like if I wouldn't have had MySpace, like I wouldn't be into, I don't know, I feel like it was a catalyst for a lot of like the thought of like kind of expanding online. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you can only
definitely.
do so much on like AIM, but like you see people like promoting like their businesses on MySpace,
Yeah.
and like bands are growing and
that
shit.
was huge.
Yeah, it was pivotal for them. And then you have like Dane Cook, who like kind of took over all of that for like comedians.
Yep.
Like he definitely revolutionized like all the marketing for like comedians and shit. No one was doing that back then. Super
He
interesting.
was huge on MySpace. I remember that.
Absolutely
Crazy.
Now, whenever you're in WVU, it's like what do you guys do down there? You just like regular college shit, partying and everything.
See, to be honest, like I mean, when we first went there, it's like normal colleges,
Yeah.
but for the most part, we were actually back in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
often.
okay.
That's what we usually, because like, I mean, we had a lot of friends there, but then we
Yeah.
had like all of our people here, and we just like to do more in the Pittsburgh area here.
Yeah.
So, but like we still like had a lot of great times in Morgantown.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, usually every weekend we'd come back towards. I mean, I think our freshman year and sophomore year we'd spend more time down there.
Right.
But we were never really big party kids. That just wasn't our thing. It was.
I never drank
Just
either.
like, I mean, it was nice once in a while, like to go out with friends and stuff. But I just one thing I hated doing was like going out to like any type of like parties and stuff where like kids were like belligerent, because like sometimes I have a bad temper and like I'd want to get in a fight, and I'm just like because I didn't like the kids around me, especially like any like frat parties, because I can't take.
And if
I
you're
know shade to
sober,
those kids, but a lot
it's
of those
hard,
kids are mean.
yeah.
If you're sober and you're dealing with people that are all banged up, and you're just like, get away from me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just like I don't know. That's how
It's hard.
That's how I came up all through school. I just like never drank. I was just never into it. But I was friends with everyone who drank. So like I would
yeah.
be there. I would be in these parties, and like it was just like chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
I think about it all the time now. But like it's pretty interesting now. Now after you're done with school, like well, not even when you're done with school, but as you're in school, like when did Hounds start?
So Hounds started so that would have been 2016 was when we first officially released Hounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been our sophomore or junior? I can't remember exactly. I think so. We took a year off
Yeah.
from school.
Okay.
So it was around the time when we took the year off, and it was 2016 when we first released the idea.
Now, what's the build up to the idea? Like, where does the name come from, and like, how did you even decide what you wanted to do with this?
The name comes from, well, we love dogs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
We've always had dogs.
Who
our whole
doesn't?
life.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
thing,
come on,
isn't
you
it?
should love dogs.
If you don't, then I don't trust you.
Yeah.
It's true though. But no, we just wanted to do. So we had this idea of doing this, and we're like, man, well, we had a really great dog, and his name was Sparky. And we're like, man, look, we'll name it after him. And then we thought about it. I was like,
kinda
Sparky's.
goofy.
Like, I don't know.
Sparky's a little bit like childish. A little
Child,
bit.
it
Yeah.
was
Do that.
childish. So I was
Yeah.
like, man, I don't want to do that. But then, kind of bringing the coffee thing back into it, I loved coffee so much, and I wanted to make a design where it said like Coffee Hounds on the shirt, or Coffee Hound. And I was like, you know what? Hounds would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool
perfect.
name.
Yeah.
It's a really cool name. It's like I like that it's simple. I like that it's just like one word, and it's just like it's punchy.
It's really strong.
Yeah, it's
and
a
that's
strong
what
word.
we want to like represent because of the hard work and just that blue collar and industrial style that we really go for because of how we grew up. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was curious. I'm always curious where people's names come from because
Yeah.
like the Lost Boys name literally just popped into my head walking down Mount Washington to a bar.
Yeah.
Randomly it just popped in, and then the I'll Call You Right Back name I literally sitting on the couch, and I don't know where it came from really, but it just
Did the
kind
brick
of felt
phone
right.
originally, was that a part of the idea?
I've
or was
always
that
loved
just-
the idea of the brick phone. Like
Yeah.
I've always liked it because like I always loved 80s stuff. Like I've always loved like I just thought it looked cool. I just thought the phone looked cool, and it was way more like identifiable than an iPhone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
or like a regular like flip phone. It just was a cooler logo. I've always been like kind of more into like even whenever I did like the clothing line, I've always been like I've always had all these ideas, but I was never able to like put it on the paper because I have no artistic ability. But the phone kind of just stuck with "I'll call you right back," and it just kind of ran from there.
It works for
But
sure.
the names are interesting, how people come up with them. I always ask though because I feel like the story's interesting. But so what was like your first like order of business whenever you made this like brand? Like, did you start to plan a show? Did you like put out clothes first? Like, what was it?
So we originally released a T-shirt, just kind of like as like a teaser, just saying that people will see. And we did that as like a way to have merchandise of this idea that we wanted to do, and a way to kind of support us to gain a little bit of revenue from it.
Yeah.
And that was a way that we did that, as well as an introduction video.
Yeah.
And those were the two ways to kind of explain like where we're from. Like this is the kind of style that we've been raised on.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Things like that. And then from there, we wanted to make sure we had a strong business plan just to figure out what would be the next step to take. And then honestly, it was just like we just kept doing little things like we would just do like creative direction or design work for people, just kind of building it up and building up that bank account to make sure we had money to do events. Because
it all costs money. Now, what was like, so you obviously did the shirts, and like whenever you say you're doing like the creative direction and stuff, are you like reaching out to people or are people approaching you? It's like, how
both,
did you get,
basically,
it was
yeah.
both.
It just depended on who it was. There's people that we wanted to work with, and then people were, getting an idea of what we could do.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, what can you do for me? Hiring us to just kind of shape their brand, their look, whatever, like, we could do for them. So yeah, that's just how that worked out.
Now, if this is 4 years ago, like, did you come into contact with like any people that like didn't necessarily trust, 220-year-olds to do this stuff?
Really, not. I don't know. I don't feel like we did, because we always we try to be as genuine as we can, and as trustworthy as we can, and work as hard as we can. So we like always put that on the table, and I think people like trusted us, and they like really respected what we were trying to do for them. So we didn't really have anyone that was like, I don't know about these guys. These are, two 20-year-olds that are just like trying a little business or something like that. I mean, obviously people knew it was a startup company.
Yeah.
It was, time to build for it. But
absolutely,
people respected what we were doing.
That's cool though. That's definitely neat. I mean, I get curious about that. I think that like the further we get into life, I feel like that stigma of being like too young kind of gets washed away. Definitely, because like older people don't know shit. Kind of. I mean, like they know about shit, but like they're not in this world. Like before I did this podcast, like I remember just like, trying to explain things to my parents, like, like whenever I wanted to do the clothing brand, I was like, I want to do this, and they might not have thought like that it would be anything, and like they might not have been able to like envision it as much as they can now. Now my mom got an Instagram. Right. She's on it like more than I am, and she like is on Facebook more than I am.
Facebook.
And it's I think now we're in a world where like our parents, they could kind of like see the products that are out and like the work that you're doing, and it's pretty interesting to like see that kind of like transition, because I definitely remember it whenever like adults were not on any of the social media, and they're kind of just like, what the hell are you doing? Right. But now you're able to like see, like my mom, like I just released this shit with Turner's, and like my mom was like, like that's crazy, and like they see the response from it, and like the possibilities of like where you could get just from having an Instagram page and like having a podcast where you're just talking to random people, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's pretty interesting. Now, whenever you're kind of like doing, like, you obviously made the t-shirts and like you did some small shit. Like, what was your first big event?
So our first big event was definitely with Garrett Urisco. He did this yearly event called April Showers in Morgantown at a place called 123 Pleasant Street. It was a venue that they have there. And he was like, hey, if you want to do this with me, let's, you could direct it with some of the, creative ideas that you have. And a year before he wanted us to get involved with it, but it was just too late. And he was oh man, I want you to do this. But it was kind of close to the deadline. I was like, we'll plan it for next year. So it was April Showers was our first thing. We did a collaboration with his brand, Day One Lifestyle, which he turned that into more of a podcast. Now it's mostly a podcast, but it also stems with other creative ideas. Yeah. And it was that with Hounds, and we called ourselves 1-800-DIY. And it was just a fun little thing we wanted to do just because, we were doing it ourselves. And it kind of fit just the kind of craftsmanship that we were doing with the event.
So what were you guys doing with that event?
So basically we were doing the installation around the event. Now it was a good way to start because we didn't get complete control of everything just because of the venue. They didn't want certain things going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So there was definitely some more things we would have liked to have done, but it was cool to kind of as a, beginner stage for the installations that we're doing now. But yeah, so we were kind of just setting up the theme and then how everything was being set up. We did all the design work for it, whether it was for, all the graphics, the flyers, if there was any merchandise, anything like that. So that was basically for that event. And that just it was the best way for us to be okay, this is really what we're going to do.
Yeah,
with
get your
Hounds.
feet wet into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of get a taste of what you're going to deal with. Now, whenever you're doing that, I mean, for you, this is just you two in the beginning?
Yeah, well, actually, Garrett had been... So when we first started it, not too long after Garrett was involved.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he was, he was kicking ass with everything he was doing.
Okay.
Photography, or just even, consulting with ideas, things like that. And then another friend of ours, a really close friend, Matt Mullen, he then joined with us. And that was kind of the first group of guys that started really working hard on it.
Yeah.
Putting in time.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think, even just to talk more about the team, we then got to meet with Jordan Armstrong, who is an amazing videographer, my favorite videographer in the city. I think, in my opinion, the best in the city.
Yeah.
And he's just such a nice dude, and we clicked instantly. I remember we actually met at Mars Jackson's release party for Good Days Never Last Forever.
Okay.
And he was filming for that. And we kind of talked then, but it felt right when we were talking. And then the next morning we met at the Ace Hotel, and it was just instant. And then we just kind of were hey, if you would like to be a part of Hounds, this would be, an awesome opportunity. We loved his work beforehand, and, he hit us up, to get together, and we're wow, he hit us up. This is amazing. This dude's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's so good at what he does. So then, just and like I said, he's such a good guy. He just loved, we just clicked instantly. So it was yes, I would love to be a part of what you're doing. And we told him what we're doing with Hounds, we explained to you earlier, everything is equal. We want everyone to feel it's not us. We started Hounds, but it's not us just running the show.
Yeah, you're not just bossing everyone around.
No, definitely
you
not.
all want
It's
to
a
work
family.
together.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Now, do you have any sort of hesitation about that in the beginning?
Honestly, no, because if you Cole and I we're twins. We had to share things our whole lives.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
So we were so used to that, and just family was a huge thing for us. So if we were able to build this team up and everyone have just the ability to have a group of friends to create things together and make it mean something was just what we wanted the whole time. So
Yeah.
we got, the team is just, and it's 6 guys who are all very talented, Cole and I, Jordan, Garrett, Matt, and then Ben Petchel.
Yeah.
And all of them are just killers at what they do.
Now, I asked that because I'm it's harder for me to trust people with what I'm doing. Even whenever I made the clothes, I felt that no one was able to see what I was seeing, and I don't know. That's definitely me being stubborn. I probably could have gone farther if I would be less stubborn, but shit's my baby. It's just
you want to
like,
be selective.
Yeah, I'm selective
I get that.
about it, and I just feel that no one is going to work harder than I'm going to work at it. So like, why, but that's just like my outlook on things.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to incorporate different like people into it and like give them your trust and to kind of like let like how you were saying like be equal, what I
Right.
mean, like be equal of things, because like I'm just like I need to have control over what I'm doing,
Right.
and that's kind of like why I do all this shit myself. Like I learned all this stuff myself, I edit all this shit myself, just myself, because like if I fail at it, it's me. I don't have to let anyone else down, and vice versa. Like no one's gonna let me down. Like if I'm like, where's the edited track? Like you know what I mean? It's like I'm gonna get it done. But I think it's interesting that you guys like incorporate all this, especially with 6 people.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, you have a bunch of moving parts.
Yeah.
It could be more difficult, but it could also work to your advantage because you all have like your strengths.
I think that's the thing, and like everyone still has like a broad amount of skills. Like everyone can kind of do everything,
Yeah.
but they definitely have a focus. And as we were like kind of building the team, it's still selective, and like we knew these guys were like very motivated. We had very similar mindsets. We knew we wanted to work hard and create something different and like bigger.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people ask us, like, how did you build that team of like all those guys, especially how talented it is? And it's like, I don't know. We were like just really blessed with it. That's like you're saying, you have to be really selective. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I've tried to build teams before, and I've had people with me that I didn't trust, or they weren't on task. And honestly, it's been crazy because like literally everyone that works together, we're always like, it's almost like we all have the same mindset of what we want to do.
That's great.
We're running, like nothing is.
I feel like it's rare.
It's so
It's
rare.
crazy.
Yeah,
We're
it's
super,
rare.
super blessed with that.
Because you see all kinds of shit. Like, I mean, if you have an Instagram and like you're caught up with anyone in the city, you see like the stuff that falls apart.
Yeah.
You see the relationships that fall apart, the relationships that like don't work out how you would hope them to. So that's why it's like you guys seem to be going pretty strong, and you guys seem to have like a good foundation, because like all the shit that you guys do is pretty impressive. It really
Appreciate
is.
that.
Now, whenever you guys are like kind of if you are all like one unit now, and you come up with like what's your next event after you do that first one with Garrett?
It was Year of the Dog, which was at the Ace Hotel.
No, I think that was the first one that I've seen that you guys do. I think I remember, because when was that? Like 2017?
No, it's 2018.
2018?
So
September.
Okay.
2018. And it was just a showcase that we wanted to put on with an installation. And we had some of the best talent in the city perform. But then we also had our art on display. I mean,
Yeah.
we had Mars Jackson, amazing artist.
Yeah.
Benji. I mean, that dude's he's
taking
touring
off.
now. He's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
he's
it's
taking
awesome.
off.
Actually, one of the guys, part of Hounds, Matt, he performed. He goes by Here's Matt. He was awesome.
Okay.
And then we had Picasso, really, really great producer. Bamboo was out there.
Yeah.
And then Slim actually went out there and had an awesome set. He killed it.
Yeah.
And then another really good friend of ours, Zombie Main.
GR Zombie. He closed
GR
out
Zombie.
the show.
GR Zombie. He was awesome.
Now, how did you guys like come up with this event? Like, did you have like a goal of what you wanted to do in the beginning, or did you kind of just see what was available and piece it together?
I think it's just like from April showers, we were like, well, we could totally do this, have our own showcase.
Yeah. But you had a mindset that you wanted music to be involved
Yeah.
with it. Okay.
So like if we're like, oh, we'll do it, because actually at the April shower show, we got Benji and Martha perform there.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. That makes sense.
We talked to them like, well, let's do this again. Let's do something that involves music, but also like our art installation.
yeah.
where we could really get, work hard and have complete control over the space.
Yeah.
So
because this was like the first event that was like you guys were producing.
just like how.
And I mean,
Yeah.
that included everyone except for Ben, because at the time, like, we didn't know Ben that well. I mean, we kind of knew of him, and he knew
we
of
already
us.
knew of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he comes in later on. But at the time, literally everyone, Matt, Jordan, Cole, and I, and Garrett, like, we were all working super hard on this, and this was like something that we produced. And
And you said this was at Ace?
yeah,
Yeah.
the Ace Hotel in the gym.
Now, like, what is the process of you planning out an event like this?
It's super, super stressful,
Yeah.
especially if you don't have any type of sponsors.
Yeah.
Because you're putting all your own money into it.
Yeah, the
all,
money's
all the
into it.
work.
Yeah.
Usually with like a lot of like the main planning, Clay and I will do that and we'll split it up with each
Yeah.
other. But then like a lot of, and we'll also had a lot of the creative ideas, but still like the rest of the team
Yeah,
is
they have
all
their
part
input.
of it. You
Yeah.
know,
It'll be different now, though. At that time, it was
Exactly.
just because we just started getting the team together. So
It's
now
understandable.
with
Right.
future events, everyone will be kind of like heads of the
Round
idea.
table.
Yeah,
Right.
round table.
Now, you guys are creating this event, like as far as like the steps to create an event like this, do you need, like, did you have an idea of where you wanted it to be? Like, did you know you wanted to do it at Ace?
We had multiple venues. We were really trying hard to find an open warehouse.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like the main idea, just because we felt it would fit our vibe, our style, and we could like really create an installation that would be really cool surrounding it. But it took us a while. Couldn't find anything that was at least in a good area where people could get to.
Yeah.
plus when it's just a warehouse, sometimes there's more things that you have to
Insurance,
take into
things like that.
consideration.
Yeah.
Even like alcohol.
That makes sense.
Yeah, or like even you don't have to, but like even like security or something like that. Just make sure everything's all good.
I think the idea of it being in a gym though is dope.
Oh, even the Ace Hotel. I mean, the way it looked,
Yeah.
it looked great.
And
So,
yeah, actually, from that idea actually came from Zed. Like,
Oh yeah.
he was just like, man, we just did the Pittsburgh Pickers there,
yeah,
and he was just kind of explaining it to us, and we didn't even think of it as a possibility.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, dude. He's like, you should definitely hit them up, and we did, and they're
They were
like, oh
cool
yeah, we
with
could
it.
definitely hold this, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man. So definitely shout out to Zed for that, because
That's
he
awesome.
definitely helped us with
Yeah.
that one.
That's really
yeah.
awesome.
Zed,
He's a
Chase,
great dude.
and Retro
They're both-
Gems. They kill
they
it with
kill it
Pittsburgh
down
Pickers. And then like a lot more people have been getting more involved. You know, like Sean Flynn and Monarch, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
amazing
yeah.
dude. Love that guy. So
Yeah, he's
all those guys.
He's coming up here soon. I'm having
Oh,
him on here
good.
soon.
He's
He's a good-
interesting.
He's an
so much
interesting
fun
dude.
guy.
So much fun.
Anytime I've ever seen him, I think I only met him maybe once, but he always just has a huge smile.
Every
always
time.
just,
So
like,
positive.
shaking his hand, like, "Hey, how are you?" And
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to him because, like, I feel like he offers a little bit, like obviously Zed kind of does the same shit, but like, I don't know. I think I think they're different. Like
They definitely
they're
are.
definitely so different. Like I feel more of like a vintage, like a broad vintage with Monarch shit.
It is, and that's like something that he definitely will talk to you about because I mean he's told us many a times. You know, he loves like what Zed's doing, and
Yeah.
it's a great. But he wanted to kind of do his own thing, and I think he's definitely found the correct
Absolutely.
route. And his shop. If you haven't been there, it's
Yeah, I haven't got to make
it's
it
in
out
Verona.
yet. That's what everyone's saying. It's awesome.
Amazing.
I want to check it out with the vault doors and shit.
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
and
You need to
also
see it.
like shout out to Maddie because she's
Oh,
been
yeah.
a huge the creative direction that she's given with Sean. Like both, that's an awesome.
Who
team.
is that?
So that's his girlfriend.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I don't know if I've
wonderful.
ever met her.
She's literally like she's the girl version of Sean. Like they're
Yeah.
and then
Very
Sean's
nice.
the boy version of her. Like,
Yeah.
super positive, really creative, and like a lot of her touch went into that shop.
The whole vintage movement is very, very interesting. It's cool because like everyone is like, I don't know. I just always loved the idea of like, like reselling, like bartering. Like
Yeah.
I grew up around flea markets and shit. And like
Same
that's what it reminds me of. And like you go to like if you can go to a streetwear store, like I could walk into Supreme, but like I get like a stuffy vibe.
It
in
doesn't
there.
feel right.
Like the people in there are just like, like fuck you basically. Kinda.
Yeah,
like
buy
we
something,
don't
get
care.
out.
Yeah, we don't care if you're here. But Zed's, you walk in there and it's like I love that there's the
family.
dog. Like it's just like it's a cozy vibe.
Yeah.
So you guys like made this event. Like what was the art installation? I don't think I've seen what you guys did for the first one.
So it was like overall in the gym, it was just very industrial based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a hanging light installation that we did above the artist.
Do I remember seeing like barbed wire?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I think I do remember.
We had a couple different things like chain link fence, barbed wire.
Okay.
The
yeah.
DJ booth that we built was an old IBC water tote, which is it looked like a cage.
Really?
So that's what we tried to like create, and we basically tied down a piece of plywood on top, so DJs would set up there, and we had a pallet
Okay,
so they
yeah,
could
yeah,
stand
yeah.
and so they could be above it. And then we had lights and cement blocks, rigged inside of it. So
That's
just like
super
to create
cool.
a different atmosphere.
Yeah, and it ended up going well though.
Oh yeah,
100%.
definitely. It was
For our
awesome.
first like actual showcase event, like it went really well.
Yeah, that's good. And now, I mean, you guys did that, and like the response of that obviously is good. But like, you know, did that like, you know, that obviously it probably like put some pep in your step to being like, you know, we could really do this, and we could really like make this shit happen and a little bit different. Because I honestly don't think that, you know, like everything, we live in a world of saturation. There's 1,000 podcasts just in the city, 1,000 people that make clothes just in the city. I don't know if there's anyone that like does, you know, a creative team like you guys do. That's why I thought it was like real interesting. And then I remember seeing the basketball stuff. If I'm fast forwarding through something, like, was there anything that I'm missing in between there?
So we had a few other events. We had an event called Salute to Pittsburgh, which was a pop-up that we did that was, you know, literally saluting Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That was an event we did actually in Garrett's backyard. It turned out really cool.
Just like a get together with people outside. It was a beautiful day.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good vibe.
So.
And other than that, it was just we had little things from there on out. And
Yeah,
then-
or whether it was like us like working on different creative direction, even like stage design for people and such. So
Okay.
like
Yeah,
things like
that's-
that.
Where does the like? So when does your first like? You guys do this rugged wear.
Yeah.
And this workwear, and like I think that that's super interesting because like you don't see a lot of people doing that stuff, like making like the aprons and everything. Like
Right.
when was your first like kind of? When did you guys dip your toe into that?
we grew up wearing Carhartt.
Yeah.
Not just what we wore.
I had a Carhartt shirt on today, actually.
Yep.
I'm wearing one right now.
I love it.
So
I used to make fun of my dad. I'd be
Yeah.
like, you know, you're wearing the same button-up shirt you've had for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Because it
And,
lasts.
Crazy, right?
And now I eat my words because it's like I only want to wear that stuff because it's cozy. It fits bigger guys well.
Yeah.
You know, it's made for me.
It's good.
Yeah, I wear my dad's shit now. It's funny.
Yeah, same here.
But so like the workwear though, I think that like it's like a weird avenue to go down because like I feel like not everyone is gonna like, you know, go to that. I mean, maybe now you see Carhartt like
Right.
doing their what is it,
Work in
WIP?
progress.
Yeah,
Work in progress.
Yeah, or WIP. That's it.
WIP, yeah.
You see like them, and that's like more of their streetwear based like line. And I mean, I feel like that shit didn't happen in the last 2 years. Like,
No.
It's been going on for a while.
yeah, but like it's not like caught on around here.
No.
Like everyone was into the designer, Supreme, streetwear, and now you see people going back to like just regular Dickies, you know, regular Doc Marten boots and like Carhartt shirts and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's interesting. And I definitely think that you guys were like, you know, the first people that I seen personally around here that like kind of mended that like style with the workwear stuff. And I thought that was pretty neat.
I mean, it's because we're not wearing it for a style. Like this is just what
It was
we
practical.
Yeah.
worn, and that's why with rugged wear we wanted to create practical workwear because we actually work in this clothing. So like, you know, you're saying like it might be an interesting route to go because people may not gravitate towards it, but that's not what we're trying to go for. It's like this is who we are. This is what we want to represent.
It's not like it definitely, we love it because it looks cool.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like we're trying to like have like some hype behind
it's not a
it.
fashion.
No, I
statement.
get that for sure. But like you could tell by looking at it, you could see that there's that eye to it. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, you make it so it's nice looking.
Yeah,
and it's not
sure.
just like a, you know, a Carhartt patch.
Exactly.
You know, I like that you have like the apron with like the nice fonts and everything like that. Like that looks cool. It adds like a certain touch to it rather than just being like a construction apron. You know what I
It's
mean?
very bold and it's like right in your face.
Yeah, punchy and everything like that. I like that. So I mean, the basketball thing, I feel like how long ahead of time did you guys plan for that?
It was like a year.
Yeah.
Really, that long?
Maybe a little over a year.
Jeez.
Or maybe about
The
a year.
idea probably.
The idea,
a little bit, maybe like a
exactly.
year. And
Like, where does the
year and a
idea
half.
come from?
So
with
we
that?
were listening to the Bill Simmons podcast actually, and it was an interview he had done with Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
And so he was talking about all these fights he had been in, you know, in the NBA, and then outside, just like random fights. Like I think what was he?
He got in a huge fight in like a hot tub.
Just like
random things
and
like he would do because he just
beating
loved
heads.
fighting.
And that's the type of dude he was. And
Yeah.
we always wanted to do an event with basketball, but we were trying to find a way to, you know, represent it well where it wasn't random and it would like fit who we are in our style. And
Yeah.
since we represent that industrial gritty style, that blue collar style, we were like, I thought one day I was like, when we were listening, I was like, why not focus on famous basketball fights, because that's gritty and that's like in your face, you know, and we can still focus on basketball with it. And that's what we wanted to represent with the installation that we built. So we could it looked like it's like, okay, this is Hounds, but it also is basketball. And so basketball came to life, and from then on the idea expanded. You know, we had so it was an installation in the middle of the Ace Hotel gym, and surrounding that was it was a market. Now every vendor, a part of the market, they didn't have to focus on basketball fights, but everyone had to have something, you know, referring to basketball.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. We had vintage vendors, we had artists, photographers, we had a coffee shop. Reginald's was a coffee shop. We did a collaboration with a plant store, City Grows, and that's where the basketball planners came from, the hanging basketball planners.
Okay.
So that happened. So it's just like, and then we also had a court saving group, and that's
Court saving.
Yes.
What's that?
So Swish Dreams, her name's Hannah. She actually is. Do you know? I don't know if you know El Jiggy at all.
El Jiggy.
So he was.
Today's going to be great.
Yeah, today's gonna be
Okay.
great. So he's a DJ as well as he had a blog, and today's going to be great. I mean, he was a really good guy. And then we got connected with his sister, and she has this basketball court saving company as well as screen printing, and it's called Swish Dreams. And it's awesome. Like what she does is she focuses on courts that are in need of help, and she basically renovates them.
Really?
Brings them back to life.
Wow, I've never heard of that. That's pretty
it's
interesting.
really awesome. Yeah.
That's definitely cool.
So that actually became the goal behind basketball. That was like the idea in the first place, but we wanted to find a way to get, you know, give back to the community and rebuild a court. And so that's like kind of the goal in our process right now. That's what we're working towards.
Because we had basically, it was a free event, but we accepted donations for the youth basketball Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And
did you get a good turnout with that?
we did pretty well. We wanted a little bit more, but
Yeah.
I mean, anything helps, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And we were going to match that. So we helped to put more money into that.
Yep.
And then from there, now it's just like, just planning and things like that. And we're still saving up, trying to like get this court done.
Meeting with the right people to actually make it happen. It's obviously a process.
Yeah,
but-
to like try to figure out which one and what to do. Yeah, that's pretty
Exactly.
cool though. I didn't know that was like the goal behind it.
We
all.
didn't want to put it out there right away, just because if there was a chance that they just said no to us, we were afraid to put it out there. And if it did came down to where they said no, that money that we saved up, we were literally just going to contact schools around town, around the city, just like who needs jerseys, shoes, whatever it might
basketballs,
Yeah.
whatever they needed. And that's what, so that was like the whole goal was just to give back, especially to like, you know, kids in the community, because like as kids growing up, we loved basketball. It made us so happy when we played all the time.
Yeah.
You know? And even with the idea of saving courts, it's like, you know, you can go with your friends to a court, play basketball, even if you're not that great at basketball, like you're still going to have a good time.
I spent a lot of time at basketball courts and I never played.
There you go. Have a lot of
I
fun.
never played. Yeah, it was just fun to do.
Get
Even
kids
these
together.
courts right over here.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like,
we saw. We went by those. Yeah.
it's crazy, especially just these last couple days of it being a real nice. Like it's been desolate over there since it's been cold, but there had to be 25 people over there today.
Yeah.
And like I have a fire escape right out here,
Yeah.
and I'll just sit there and watch everyone play, and like it's like fucking Rucker Park. Boys are slamming like
Rucker
basketball.
Park.
Dude, it's wild
Man,
over there.
that's
It gets crazy. I'll just hear people yelling, and I'll be like, "What is going on over there?" And I'll just stand out there and watch, and like there's like they'll always have like a half court with just like young kids, and then like the big dogs are playing on the other side, and just like getting crazy. And I always liked watching it because like I've always liked watching things that I'm not good at. That's why I like artwork so much. I think it's because I'm absolutely just rubbish at it, and to see people like do artwork is like it's mind blowing to me how they can just do it.
Actually, speaking of artwork, there's a court that actually has been renovated for the first time in Pittsburgh. Janelle Young, she killed it. She did a court over in Beltuver, McKinley Park.
Oh yeah,
And
I know McKinley.
She's the first one to do
That's
it.
a skate park over there, right? They have a skate park there.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know it that well. I've only been by the court.
I'm pretty sure there's a McKinley skate park if it's the same place I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty interesting.
she is amazing, and that's actually kind of like someone where we saw her court here, and like we definitely give her props. Like, she's definitely an inspiration seeing that. It's like what she did with that court to bring to the community. It's like, it's wonderful.
And she wants to team up with, we've talked to her already, and she wants to team up with us on it. So it's pretty interesting because, I mean, she has basically the blueprint behind it. So
that's
cool
such a cool like thing
out.
to do.
Yeah.
Is just to like kind of, because like I've been thinking about like, you know, shit that I want to do as far as like what I could kind of put together. Like I want to get into like putting together events and stuff like that. And I mean that's my goal, is like I just want to do things that are going to benefit, you know, the city.
Yeah,
you know, I always talk about it like, you know, people do all, like everyone that I talk to offers something interesting to the city, whether it be like, you know, you guys, or whether it be like, you know, Millie's Ice Cream or like Turner's Tea or any of those people. And like, I've never really had anything to give back to the city. And I kind of just want to like, you know, capitalize with what I have and like kind of just do whatever I can to kind of make things better, as much as I can at least. But, now, whenever you guys were doing this, I'm curious because like the basketball shit, like seeing like the basketballs and like the concrete and stuff like that, like I feel like it's just such like a weird, interesting idea. Like, how do you guys come up with that stuff? Like, is it just you guys sitting down somewhere and you're just bouncing ideas off of each other and like
constantly just
okay,
that, as well as, so with basketball, we actually had a few guys, actually a few different brands and companies that presented basketball with us. And we just like kind of bounce the ideas off them, see what they thought, which was really cool to get different input. Sean Flynn, Monarch, he was a part of it. We had Rare Vintage. Ben Petrol, that was the first event we did.
Who runs Rare Vintage? What's his name?
His name's Casey.
Casey.
He's a super nice guy. He's actually in Philly.
He was the first person that I seen from Pittsburgh that I noticed his name selling the Rare Vintage shit. Like, he's been doing it for a long time.
Really well.
And even whenever I used to work at that clothing store down in Southside Threads, even going out and like when we went to Vegas to that like Agenda trade show, he was out there.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, holy shit.
He's
like,
everywhere.
Even whenever I sold clothes back at like the Refresh stuff. Refresh used to do them sneaker conventions. Always killing it. Always killing it. He had a medium gin and juice Pens jersey, and I was going to buy it, but it obviously didn't fit. But he's been doing it for a minute.
He was awesome just to have a part of it. And then, you know, also we had different guys like Senseless. So we had a few different vintage vendors that were able to help out just with curating the basketball ideas. And then
Probably
we also
had a bunch of cool jerseys and shit.
Oh, dude, you should have seen it. It was especially Casey. Casey had stuff lined up along the running track above. And, man, all
those dudes had a great selection. That was one thing. Like everyone, we knew everyone was going to curate everything to like their own style and like do something different. And like, but they like blew us out of the water. Like it was crazy. Everything everybody there was like, wow, this is insane. It seemed like, you know, everyone kept saying like, you guys like set this bar, and it seemed like everybody was like trying to be like, no, I'm gonna be above that. Like, and it was amazing. That's what we wanted.
That's even like the vendors that were set up. That was one thing. We would be like, hey guys, this is maybe something we're doing, and then the vendors would see like maybe like the art behind the installation, like, oh man, like we got to have we can't just have like a table. We got to like, for example, Steve and Jake with sports, like, they were like, man, they saw some of the stuff we were doing, and they're like, dude, we got to do something crazy. So they built like a wall, literally with just clippings of all these Sports Illustrated basketball like ads, or just like any like articles,
you know, or the fronts of the covers. You know what it's like.
Yeah, they did some cool stuff.
I mean, Steve went crazy with
both of them guys. Are real cool. They've always been so nice to me and like supporting my stuff. And it's cool that he's building like I see he's building them tables with the old skate.
So that was kind of like his first. That was like his first collage.
I love that.
So
it was
that's such a cool idea.
Yeah,
it's cool to have in your house.
Oh, definitely.
Now, that event, like, I mean, after you are getting all this shit ready and like you execute the event and you have it, and like what is your mindset after going through all this? I mean, you obviously have the idea that you want to renovate a basketball court around here, but like, what's your mindset as far as like, you know, obviously you want to try to outdo yourself and like kind of create something better. It's like you always want to keep excelling and going further with what you're doing. It's like, do you have like an idea of like what you wanted to do after that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think right now what we're planning is, so what we're going to do is at least like 2 to 3 personal projects, whether that's an installation or maybe, like for example, we released Home, which is our custom furniture.
Yeah.
It was a whole idea that we wanted to do because, I mean, we have these.
Yeah, that sneaker wall.
Yeah, with the sneaker wall.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the teaser of just this idea of home. But that's something
to look forward to.
Yeah, we're working on right now.
That's awesome.
2020.
That's definitely cool.
The home idea, and then we'll work on the court. But then I think what we're really pushing right now is just the creative agency. Working with clients and just like helping people market or just create like brand things like that, just to like push other people to become bigger and better versions of themselves.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And like the workwear stuff, I saw that you guys put out like you obviously got the hats, got the aprons and stuff like that. Now, like, do you have like, do you guys like, is that the path that you want to keep going down as far as like the workwear? Or do you want to do any of like what would you call it? Like fashionable end of it?
I mean, we're not really, since we're not a clothing company, it's just, to put something out there. It's like to support what we're doing to, kind of get like a little.
So that's
cash
not your
flow.
main focus.
No,
is like, you don't want that to be like your main focus.
It's more of like a capsule.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like a memento someone can have and be like, oh, I'm supporting Hounds. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people who be like, hey, like, I love to support in any ways or like things I could do or like maybe buy from you guys. That's why a lot of people, even
that's
just
a
like
good way to
hats,
look at
like,
it. That's a
people
good
are
point to
like,
look at it.
Can I get a hat? And it's
nice
like,
way to like kind of bring in some cash, but still give someone an opportunity instead of just saying like, yo, you can donate money.
Exactly.
It's like, give them a reason, give them something to buy, support. Plus it's just branding,
And on top of that, that's why we wanted to focus it with rugged wear. It's like, it's bigger than just clothing because it is that workwear, so you can use it to work or, these pieces are actually like functional. It's not like, it's
I like that. That's
so
cool.
So it kind of like meshes well with what we do already with our like hardworking backgrounds.
Yeah. And then also including with rugged wear, we interviewed really hardworking talents in Pittsburgh, people that work with their hands, and it was like different fields from whether that was Cam Brown, barista and photographer. Like that's totally different from our dad, who we also interviewed, who was the carpenter, home builder. But they both do similar things working with their hands. It's still like a blue collar skill.
Yeah.
And definitely, we had Ryan Smith with Benny Fierro's and Benny Bellini's.
Oh yeah.
Awesome dude. And a girl who we met who has just moved from Brooklyn. She is from Pittsburgh, but just moved back home, and she had a company called Scapes with her creative partner Andy. Her name is Taylor Kaklik, and she's just been awesome. I mean, she's so creative. She's one of like the most interesting people that I've met that I had no idea about until she came back.
That's cool. I'm sure that you attract, the creative mindset. Like, people probably notice, like I definitely noticed that you guys, like, I noticed the vibe that you guys get off or that you give off. And, I'm sure that like other people notice that and they want to work with you. Now, as far as like, I know you guys are saying like you have a common theme of like, like the workwear, the industrial, the rugged stuff. Like, is that like the lane that you want to like stick to, or are you
we can work basically anywhere, especially with the clients that we get. We can do anything, but that's just how we represent ourselves, especially with like our personal projects.
That's what I mean, like with Hounds in general.
Right.
Like is that the main, like you don't plan on like straying from that at all?
Not too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I like that.
With like, for example, like the only thing I could see like a little different is like with Home.
Yeah.
That is we base the furniture off. It's like a mix of like mid-century modern, as well as an industrial base style furniture.
Yeah.
But there's that mid-century that you put in there where it's almost like futuristic in a way, a little bit more classic look.
It's interesting that you guys are like getting into like furniture and like you guys do these like installations and you build shit, because like I don't know, it's just like it's stuff that like I'm not used to. Like you see people have a podcast, clothing line, rapping and stuff like that. It's just like very different, very unique.
I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I like it. I mean, it's cool to like learn about you guys a little bit more in depth, because I see everything online. Like I think we've been following each other for a while, and like I see all the stuff that you see, or all the stuff that you do, and like it's pretty like it's just like I think that I'm I'm so surprised by it all because like I don't know what to expect from you guys, and I feel like that from someone who doesn't know you, like obviously people that follow you that probably don't know you personally. I mean, I almost never, I could never even guess what you guys are about to like put out, and I feel like that's a good thing.
That's what we want.
That's
That's
awesome.
exactly what we want.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It's a way to stay fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh. That's what I mean. It's very fresh. I mean, and it might not even like be everyone's like cup of tea, but I feel like that. I feel like that everyone could like see it and appreciate it because like, you know, you can notice the hard work that Ian's put in with all this stuff. Obviously, like, you know, setting basketballs in concrete and making these things. It definitely takes time.
Yeah.
So like, where the hell do Ian's find all the time to do all this shit?
Dude, it's like I have no idea.
Yeah, we just take coffee
late nights,
all day.
no sleep.
Do Ian's live together?
Yes. Yeah. So we live with our parents right now.
Yeah.
And it's our parents have they have a decent sized garage for us to work out of.
Right.
Yeah.
And since our dad is a home builder, he has, you know, the tools, and like we're very fortunate because
That's dope.
Yeah.
for him being in that field, he's been able to, you know, get all these things because I mean,
Probably a good outlet to like, you know, ask his opinion about things and,
100%.
like, how to do things.
Definitely.
And, like, the better
He
way to
works
do
with us
things.
all the time.
He's definitely like
Yeah.
assisted in all the projects that we've done.
Yeah, what do they like? So, what do your parents think about like what you guys are doing? Like, can they grasp what
it's-
you have?
It's crazy. They're actually both really supportive of it, and it's just because I think one big reason, especially like since our dad he has owned his own, you know, custom home building company. Like he himself is an entrepreneur. He understands and he sees.
That's a good point.
He sees like you were saying. He sees like your parents are now seeing what you can do and like the response from people. So he's like, wow, like this is big. Like this is actually something that's
it's basically taking what he did and putting it more of a creative light.
Yeah.
Instead of like, you know, practical home.
And in this world where it's a little bit different than it was back whenever like our parents were growing up.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine like having a business and having to like, you know, pay for an ad in a phone book or,
Right.
you know, put it on a bench or some shit. And I mean, like,
Something.
it's just wild to think about how people were able to like run, you know, like profitable businesses back then. And like, you know, shit's just like word of mouth, small signs.
Yeah.
You know, it's just bizarre for me to even like think about that because like, I feel like, you know, if I talk to anyone or if I have like a curiosity about talking to anyone, I immediately go to their Instagram. If they don't have an Instagram, I'm like, why don't you have an Instagram? If you're like a business or doing anything like that, and it might be a wrong way to think about it, but like, I feel like it's definitely the most like, you know, it's probably the most important like business tool that you could have. It's understandable, like people, not everyone needs to have one, but like, that's usually where I go. Cause like if I interview people, like I'm just looking through your guys' stuff and like kind of, you know, finding things that like spark my interest of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild.
I
It's
completely
interesting.
understand that. Yeah, do the same thing. It's an easy way to get that research in, and you know, even if it's like something quick, just to kind of learn about someone. It's like Instagram is a great tool. You know, Twitter, whatever form of social media you use, and it's crazy how this day and age, that's how people market themselves.
Yeah, it's
and some
weird.
people take advantage of it in like the wrong ways, and then some people do
absolutely.
it in great ways. You know, I think you do a great job of it. We
Thank you.
do a great job as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think like, I mean, I always see we're always tuned in your podcast. So like,
I appreciate
and
that.
it's not just like we see it everywhere. That's the thing, and people talk about it because of the way you market yourself. So.
I appreciate it. I try to keep a very, very broad array of people on here just because like, you know, like I said, like I'm friends with like 100 different people that do music, but like, you know, it kind of gets stale, the idea of just like everyone doing music, even if it's like even if everyone has a different story, it's like, to me, I mean, and that's where like the whole stubbornness comes through. It's like, to me, I don't want to just hear about music all the time. I don't want to hear about just like clothes all the time, and I don't want to hear about that. I want to learn about like a 90-year-old dairy. I want to learn about someone who's a funeral director.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I feel like that I really want to provide like a way to give, I mean, anyone regardless of like age, race, like anything, like an ability to like learn about things in like kind of like a, not necessarily a cool way, but like a more interesting way than just like, you know, Googling shit. It's like, you know, if you're interested in stuff, you could obviously go on YouTube and say like, you know, funeral directing, like whatever, and like kind of look at that stuff. But it's interesting to be able to like kind of have someone in here and like kind of pick their brain and like kind of figure out where their thoughts of things come from. And it's pretty interesting. So like your next move for all this shit, it's like you guys just want to create, you guys want to work with people and kind of spread your wings a little bit more with all this.
Yeah.
I like that.
Make it, you know, sustainable for us where we can, you know, really focus completely on Hounds for our careers. Because that's something that we're doing in a way, but we still have to, you know, everyone has work besides Hounds.
Yeah.
But it's something where we want to create where we can all be.
Eventually pay your bills off of doing what you love.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the goals with everything in the world, I feel.
Yeah.
It's like I would love to be able to just, you know, because it's not like either of us are like working real hard. It's like we're working even harder than, you know, a lot of, we're doing a regular job and then we're doing all this extra shit that is like, you know, so much more time consuming, and like as far as like hours of research, hours of like production, and like, I mean, building shit, you know, it's crazy to think about that. But the goal is to be able to just like, you know, live, pay your bills off of doing what you love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I do an ending segment with all my guests. It's called Desert Island Questions. I'm excited. We never got to have, I guess we did have to, Mikey and Bob both kind of gave their own answers, but we're going to do Desert Island Questions with 2 guests today. So Desert Island Questions is where I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island to exhaust until their demise. And the first category of Desert Island Questions is things to watch. So you each get to pick 3 things to take with you to watch.
Now, are we talking TV shows or movies?
Anything. Yeah.
Okay. I think I have 3.
All right.
So I would say I would still want to watch every Knicks game.
Okay.
Huge Knicks fan.
Okay.
I would want to watch Ghostbusters.
The original.
Yeah. I mean, either one, whatever I could get. Like first or second, both
I'll
classics.
give you both.
Okay, both? Yeah,
That's
I like
good.
that.
That's good.
Both Ghostbusters. And then third, I'd have to say It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Ah, okay. Those are good. Those are 3 good broad choices.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something else that I would think about, but at least
I get it
right now.
Knicks. Now, where does the fandom for the Knicks come into play?
Family in New York.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
On our mother's side.
All right. Now, what about you?
Basically, all the same things. I was going to say NBA. I was thinking of a movie. Ghostbusters would be it, and then It's Always Sunny.
Yins both love Ghostbusters.
Huge Ghostbusters
Huge
fan.
Ghostbusters.
Huge
What did you think about the female remake?
It was good, but I feel like they, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like
it was something where, like, you know, I respect.
Just wasn't that good.
Here's my opinion on it. So the actresses that were in it, you know, have great work.
They're dope.
But the movie itself wasn't good.
I feel like they gave I think it could have been better, but I think they gave each character the wrong role, or at least like
don't fix it.
Yeah,
like
they shouldn't have done that.
But the remake,
that looks interesting.
it looks pretty good.
It's smart because it's going off of family.
Yeah.
They had no connections with the original cast.
It was random. I mean, yeah, they had their cameos, but the cameos were pretty weak.
Yeah.
I will say the new one though,
it looks pretty good.
It looks like if you mix Stranger Things with Ghostbusters, which obviously, you know, Finn Wolfhard. He's in it. So like that, I mean, obviously,
it's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know. I can get super turned off by remakes of things.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some things intrigue me more often than not. I'm just like, I ain't watching that. But the new one kind of looks all right.
I know. I thought it looked pretty cool.
I wrote off all the Fast and the Furiouses.
Now
I feel like they just need to get to 10. That's why they're trying to do it. They're like,
done with it. They should have been done after Paul Walker. Done with it.
That's true. Because, like, I mean, the original ones,
bro, they're so
classic.
good.
The first one is crazy.
I mean, Vin Diesel is just a car racer, and now he's literally ripping Ferraris out of buildings, skyscrapers, and landing on other buildings. Done with it.
And he's not even yelling or anything. He's just like staring like, yeah, I'm Vin Diesel. How you doing?
Done with it. All right, so second category. Do you guys read at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 books.
3 books. Ooh. I would say Drive, like the movie.
Oh, there's
actually,
a book?
you know what? It's if you haven't read the book, it's really cool because both are very similar. But the book and the movie definitely have differences. So it's
Yeah.
like almost like a complete different, thing. But then you're like seeing a couple similarities, and you're like,
Almost
it
like
is
some
really cool.
Fight Club shit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right.
I love
The movie was wild.
I love the movie too. So that's one reason why I wanted to mention.
I think
that.
I only watched it one time. I got to watch it again.
Definitely.
Yeah,
We're
it's a
actually
wild
huge
one.
Ryan Gosling fans
Oh,
too.
I love him.
Yeah, Place Beyond the Pines.
Oh my god.
So
dude.
amazing.
I remember
Insane.
someone, I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were like, that movie was terrible. I was like, why? How was it terrible? And they were like, it was just boring. It was stale. Just like, dude, Ryan Gosling ripping on that.
You know what they were watching? Fast 9.
That's exactly
That's
what
what
they're
they're
watching.
watching.
That's exactly what they're watching.
Watch Vin Diesel swing
Man.
from a rope with a car.
Ryan Gosling, though. Come on. Everything
the
from
guy.
Remember the Titans to Drive. Like, you can't beat that guy. Come
Nice
on.
Guys was like a sleeper.
Oh,
A lot of
yeah,
people
that was
didn't
so
watch that.
good.
It's
With
so
Russell
funny.
Crowe? Yeah.
Yes, and it was a good like cop movie, like
Yeah.
classic. A lot of great scenes.
That's
Good
true.
stuff.
Did you ever see a movie called Murder by Numbers?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
It's with Sandra Bullock.
Okay,
It's a slept-on movie.
gotta
It
see.
is.
Well, there you go. I gotta see it then.
Ryan Gosling plays like some fucking psycho.
Oh.
It's good though. It's
Okay.
real good. Okay, so you got Drive. You got
I'll let you go because I can't even like.
So personally, I mean, I love Drive as a book. That's really good. But I like to read a lot of different. I guess like I like to read a lot of like different types of. I don't know how to explain it, like biographies in a way. Or
Yeah.
things on
Yeah.
just on people's lives.
yeah. That's understandable.
Is like a lot of I do like to read a lot of articles or just get a lot of knowledge that way. I was like thinking about that when we first started talking about it. There's no like books I can think of right off the top of my head.
That's
that I've
fine.
read.
That's fine.
So-
That's fine. I enjoy a biography. What do you have a couple that you like?
Actually, I did a biography in a project in school. It was a Rakim, like Eric B. Rakim book it was based on Rakim, and I had to do a project on a biography book, and I chose Rakim because I loved him, like especially as a kid, just growing up listening to him, and that's probably one of my favorite biographies. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
It's all right.
But it was just like such a cool book to kind of get the insight of how he grew up and how he got to know Eric B.
Yeah, I love learning about people's lives and how they came up. That's why I like podcasting so much.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives you like a behind the scenes. I'm in the middle of Mike Tyson's book.
Oh yeah.
It's wild.
I
dude.
wouldn't doubt that. I mean, that dude's life's been crazy.
Wild. You couldn't even imagine it. I had no idea, but like
I'm sure. Yeah.
it's just like him being a kid. Like it's crazy. It's a thick one. I'm actually listening to it. It's my first time listening to an audio book,
Huh.
and I don't know. I it's fine. Like I like it, but I feel like that I want to read more because it's an exercise, that muscle.
Yeah.
I don't read a lot. I wish that I read more.
I feel the same way.
But I mean, it's understandable.
2020. Start reading more.
2020.
That's it right there.
I'm reading the last lecture. I'm listening to Mike Tyson's book. We're progressing in
2020, we reading books.
this year. 2020 we're reading books. Okay. So the third category is 3 things to listen to.
Like artists or just like any, like what do you mean?
If you could pick a CD,
Ooh, an album.
yeah.
Oh man. So for me, I would definitely say Purple Rain by Prince,
Okay.
Graduation by Kanye,
Yeah.
and oh man, the third one maybe the live recording at Folsom Prison for Johnny Cash.
Ooh, those
That's a
are all
really-
3 classics.
Yeah, those are really good.
That's hard.
That's a good one.
Oh man, I always hate this one because I'm into so much music.
Yeah, it's
that like-
difficult.
I'm trying to think. Those are definitely 3. I would have said, but I'm trying to think of some different ones. I'm gonna go with honestly, even like one of them. I could say, well, even like Kanye West, "Life of Pablo." That's a
Oh.
big one.
I really love that. I don't know why I did. I broke off after graduation day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like A Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There were some bangers, but like, I don't know. I just had like a weird relationship with Kanye West, and then Life of Pablo came out. And I loved it.
Loved it. Yeah, it's a different album for sure.
Wolves is like probably one of my favorite songs ever made.
Yeah.
I think that is
It's a beautiful song.
It's a beautiful song. I don't know why I loved it so much, but that one really stuck with me. Wolves was just insane, and Father Stretch My Hands too. Like,
Yep.
come on
Classic.
now. You just put that on, and you just want to
You're
drive
already
100 miles
feeling it.
per hour.
Yeah,
Just
you're
ready to
ready.
go.
I would say another one would be J Dilla, Donuts.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like even just saying that, it's like that's like the one that everybody knows. But if I'm listening to something, I would go for that. That's a classic.
That's all right. Yeah.
And then maybe Frank Sinatra, My Way.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one too.
Yep.
That's a good broad spectrum of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Everywhere.
right. So the second to last question is the death row meal. So you get to pick some food to take before you get electrocuted to death.
So, number one pick, always pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was gonna say same here.
You got to be selective. What do you like in the city?
So in the city, definitely Badamos.
Badamos. Where's that?
So they have a shop over the north side. And
Badamos. I don't know if I've ever had
Amazing.
super good. They also have a spot in Mount Lebanon as well.
that. Badamos. I'm gonna have to try it.
Super good, awesome people.
Is it
Very
like a thick crust or a thin crust?
thin. So it's very
Oh,
similar
I like
to New
that.
York slice.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
for-
good.
That's
for
something we
us.
grew up on. So like any style that's like New York style, that's like what
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
like
go
a thin
for.
crust.
That's
all right.
I mean, man, I could, if anything, if it was just New York style pizza, that'd be like I don't even need anything else. That's
All
me
right.
right there.
So big old pizza. You
Pizza.
like toppings on it?
Honestly, I just love a classic cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah, it's gotta keep the classic.
I'll go cheese or pepperoni.
Okay.
Depends, you know.
All right.
It depends. You know,
That
even,
Home
maybe even a
Alone
white.
swag.
Oh, you know what? I also shout out Benny Fierro's.
Benny
'cause,
Fierro's.
that pizza,
Classic.
You can't go wrong
Pizza
with it.
really is great.
Yeah, those slices.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
No.
The dude at Streets, he had a baby shower. Benny,
Okay.
so he has these wings that are not on the menu.
Oh, okay.
They're called 24 karat wings. They have regular wings on the menu, but if you go down there, you ask for 24 karat, they're going to know you heard it here. But that's my go-to. But they took these wings and he took all the chicken off the bones and they put it on this Benny Fierro's pizza.
Oh.
And it was honestly the best pizza I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
It was just unreal. But that's a good choice. Pizza's good. Pizza's a reoccurring theme. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, you can't beat pizza.
Everybody loves pizza.
I made a statement the other day though that people were kind of like, "Whoa!" I said that I like tacos more than pizza.
Whoa! All right.
It's loaded. That's
That's
loaded.
crazy.
But I,
I might
mean,
have
like,
to
I'll
fight
take-
you.
but now listen. If you had to eat pizza every single day for a week, compared to tacos every single day for a week, I live off tacos. Me and my wife try
Okay.
to. We just make tacos all the time because they're easy.
I mean, I
cheap.
get it. I love tacos too.
I get it. I just feel like me personally, I get tired of pizza if I'm eating it like every single day, because we'll go 3 days in a row eating pizza with leftovers and shit like that. I don't know. I just really think that I
Tacos.
prefer
Tacos,
tacos
man.
over pizza.
That's
If,
cool.
if I had a gun to my head and I had to choose,
You're
Tacos.
but I'll take a little bit of both.
Okay, I get
Taco
that.
pizza if you want.
There you go.
Wow.
Have you inside Ironborn?
Yes, I really enjoy that, and
It's different.
it's definitely
Yeah.
different.
It's
It's
boutique pizza, but fire.
super tasty.
Yeah, super tasty. Their brunch pizza is real good.
I haven't had that.
That's worth a trip for
Okay.
down there. You got to go immediately when they're open because their wait gets packed. But they got this brunch pizza. It's like it got like some sausage gravy on there and like some fingerling potatoes and some honey on there, and you're just like, phew, it's real good. All right, so we're gonna do this. I usually do this last, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna do it last. So we have a new segment, and this segment is called the Turner's Crate.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the
Shout out
Crate-
Turners.
Yeah, shout out
Shout out
Turners.
Turners.
We love
Turners.
First time.
Everybody loves
first
Turners.
time. First week we're breaking it off. This idea came from I had 100 people on here, 100 plus now. Ian's about to be 104. But I get everyone's questions. I ask everyone these questions, and I'm grilling everyone this entire podcast. I wanted them to submit their own questions. So every one of my previous guests gave me a question. There's a select few that still have not gotten back to me. Big germ. Anyway, but you reach in here into the Turner's crate, and you're going to pick a question. Each of yous are going to pick a question,
Okay.
but you're both going to answer each other's questions as well.
Okay.
Or take advantage of it. So go ahead.
All right.
Give the first one right there. Give a pick, and then Turner's crate. Reach deep in there. All right. Now, if you would be so kind to
I got
read
two.
it.
All right. Well, so here's mine. What are some of the factors that led people to make the decisions they do, and why do people have such difficulty in understanding these factors that ultimately lead to their decisions, which ultimately determine their current state?
That's my buddy Dave Hukalik.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's a
lot.
deep question. So good luck.
Wow. So let me take a look and read this again. What are some factors? I think it's maybe for me. Well, if I'm going to answer it for myself, the reason that I make the decisions I do is probably because of the people around me, the people I love, as well as what it could entail in the future, and how I can, I guess, be the best person I can be. So if I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to like really think about it, and if it's the wrong thing to do, I'm just going to be like, no. Even if it's easier, I'm just going to be like, no. I have to do the right thing.
All right.
I think that's my answer for that.
That's a good job with that loaded question that he
That's a
came
lot.
up with. He sent me that, and I was like, "Whew, whoever
deep-
picks
It's
that is
good
gonna be
though.
deep."
I mean, it's something different.
Yeah,
for
there's
a
everything
podcast.
in here, like every different type of question in here. So I was real happy with how this came out.
All right, so to start this off, I want to say this question from Billy Hoyle.
Okay.
Shout out Billy Hoyle.
Shout out
I don't
Billy
know.
Hoyle.
I don't know him personally.
From the soil,
yeah,
he's going to be so happy that you picked Jay Dilla. That's one of his
yeah.
top.
He's a great dude. Like I said, I don't know him personally. Amazing producer.
Yeah.
He actually hit me up recently.
Yeah.
Because I actually make music. I go by Chrome Cable.
Okay.
And it's a mix of things, like mostly like hip hop, R&B, pop, like experimental though. Like I like to, I like I said, I have a very broad taste in music, so I like to like put that in my own music. I put out a single recently called Love Grow.
Okay.
And he hit me up because of that, and like he was like, give me props on it, and I thought I really appreciated that. So,
Yeah,
and like I already
absolutely.
knew his music before, his production work, so like I was like, that's really cool of him to just hit me up about that. Seems like a really great dude. Hopefully, I get to meet him.
He's
one day soon.
he's one of my favorite people in this city that I don't have any me and him have known each other for a good bit now, and I can't say a bad thing about him. Like the dude is just supportive. He's just he's a great person to have in our city.
Yeah.
He's just so supportive, and just like you never hear anything bad about him. Like he's
No, not at all.
just a good guy.
So his question was, if you could choose any animal to be completely obedient and do as you say, what type of animal would you pick? Wow, that's actually a pretty wild question. That's kind of cool, like to choose like any single animal.
Yeah.
Even if it's like insanely dangerous.
Yeah.
Just like, and it would always listen to you. Not gonna lie, it'd be tight to like have a grizzly bear.
Oh,
as
that
a
would be
pet.
sick.
That'd be amazing.
It would
Just
be
like
sick.
this big bear. Hey, I would lay all over that bear. He'd be like, we'd be best friends. I'd make sure I get like, I'd have a truck. He'd be chilling in the back.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd be waving at people.
That would be dope.
So I'm gonna go with the grizzly bear. Just
Man,
like
I like that.
a vicious bear that everyone's like, oh damn, I don't want to mess with that guy. But in reality, the bear's just like, hey, how you doing, guys? Trying to have fun.
That's a cool. It's a cool question that he asked. I thought
like
that was
that.
interesting.
That's cool.
Now you.
Well, I was about to call Cole out on that one.
Go ahead.
Man,
I thought you were going to pick a dog.
come on.
Well, the reason I didn't pick a dog is because it's saying any animal to be completely obedient.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, most dogs are like normally pretty good. I feel like that would be the simple route.
I respect your answer because, it would be a simple route. You guys, hounds,
Because I was
dogs.
honestly, the first answer in my head was a dog.
Gotta
At the
be,
same
right?
time, I was like, my dog's already basically that way.
Yeah.
So I want to do something different. You know,
If I
change
had
it up.
the magic power to have someone like you said with this rat,
Yeah.
if it could like show me the ways and teach me, I don't know, I'd still say German Shepherd.
German
Oh
Shepherd.
yeah, no,
straight up.
I German Shepherd is
All
my
right.
favorite dog of all time.
That's all right. I mean,
But
you don't
I
have
wanted to switch
feel
it
that-
up on him.
I like that.
I wanted to switch it up a
respect
little
that.
bit.
Whenever he asked me that, I was thinking about what it would be, and like, I think it would be super cool to have like a gorilla.
Ooh, that
Just
would be
a big
wild.
ass
Crazy.
gorilla.
Yeah,
I don't know why it would be cool, but like, it would just be dope.
It'd be
He would
fun
be too
just to-
big, but like, it would also be cool to just like, I don't know. I love rats. I think that they're just fascinating. I think a rat would be sick. They could weasel
Yeah.
their way into anywhere, grab shit, chew through shit.
Mm-hmm.
Utility players.
Utility.
All right, so you said German Shepherd and you got a grizzly bear.
Yep.
All right. I feel like that your answer is kind of like an umbrella so I feel like that would be similar to answer that you would have about what makes people do what they do and like how do you choose to do the things
Yeah.
that you do. That's
It'd be very similar.
yeah, very
so-
similar. So it's understandable. Shout out Turner's Tea. The first Turner's Milk Crate, magic, mysterious question. I'm going to figure out a better name for it.
Yeah, no.
But we got that Turner's Crate here. Shout
a
out to
sturdy
them for the
crate.
sponsorship. Brand new, nice and
Yeah,
shiny.
looks good. It's a nice orange.
And the last question that I ask everyone is if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
For me, I'd like to speak to my pap again, just because, like, I we got to talk to him all the time as kids, but
When did he pass away?
so he passed away.
How old were you?
We were, I think we were around 9 years old.
Okay.
Or no, we were a little bit older than that. We might have been maybe like 11.
Yeah.
I would like to just talk to him now, just because getting older.
That's
maturing.
understandable. I feel the same way about my grandfather.
I'd just like to talk to him more, just and hear more of his stories and his knowledge as me being
As a man, yeah.
A man,
yeah.
Being
instead
able
of
to
a
talk to
child.
him as a man. Like, that's
Yeah.
how I think about it. Now, if it's not a loved one, who would it be?
Oh man,
I feel like it's assumed that, if a grandfather, grandmother, parent passed away, I would go to them. Like, I would go to my grandfather.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say the same exact answer just because of how influential he was to us as well. Just like our dad was.
Absolutely.
I mean, very similar. So
That's understandable.
But I would say someone who I didn't know, just to have like a really interesting conversation just because of the stories I've heard, I would say Prince.
Prince?
oh yeah, Prince.
Yeah, just because like something like people say like the weirdest things happened with him, and like
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like always a good time. So like I think that's someone.
Dude rips on a guitar.
Yeah,
Ripped
insane.
on a guitar. We went to Portland, or we went to, it was either in Seattle or Portland, but we went to the Museum of Pop, and they had a whole Prince exhibit. Got to sit on the purple bike, got
Yeah.
to just check out all of his shit.
Yeah,
wild.
that'd be wild.
It was wild.
Speaking of Prince, there's a funny story that I actually heard from that Cookies Hoops. And the girl, there was a girl that they were interviewing. I can't remember exactly what she had like does, but
Yeah.
she was speaking how she had went to Minnesota with her dad, and she was a huge Prince fan. And like for her birthday, she wanted to go to Paisley Park.
Okay,
So
yeah.
they go there, and I guess her dad didn't really like know that much about Prince. But as you know, Prince is a huge basketball fan.
Yeah.
Her dad's a huge basketball fan. She's a huge basketball fan as well.
Yeah.
But they're in this place taking a tour, and so they're going through, and they're going to the basketball court that's inside of there because like Prince had to have a basketball court. And she said as they walked towards the underneath one of the hoops, the tour guide just stops and starts like crying, like breaks down crying like hysterically.
Really?
And like, her and her dad like what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, her dad's like really confused because like he like doesn't really know who Prince is. Like, I guess he never really like just knew him. He was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And he said, right above us in this basketball hoop are Prince's ashes.
Oh
And
my
like,
God.
so like his ashes are in this hoop, and like her dad's still like, great, that's wild. It's nice
Wow.
basketball hoop.
Are they really?
So yeah, I guess
Jeez.
in one of the basketball hoops are his ashes, and like even one of the dudes was like, so like you could be slapping glass and Prince's ashes would be in there.
That is crazy.
Crazy, right?
What an interesting dude.
Weird. I mean, wild.
Do you ever see that
amazing.
live performance of As My Guitar Gently Weeps?
Yep.
Yes.
crazy.
Insane.
All right, guys, I appreciate you very much for coming over and talking to me, kind of explaining what you do. Take a second, give out all your social media, where people could find you, what you got coming up.
So for Hounds, we have our Instagram is at HoundsUSA. You can email us at houndsusa@gmail.com. Our Twitter is Hounds_USA. And then
Our website's houndsusa.com.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's honestly, everyone gets confused with the Hounds USA. I mean, Hounds is such a broad word, general term. So like someone already had to have it.
It was hard for us to be able to get hounds.com or just at Hounds.
So
It's understandable.
You know, United States of America.
Yeah, Hounds
Hounds
USA. Let's go.
It's doing everything. So
Everyone else that's listening, I appreciate it as usual. Turner's Iced Tea is on board. I'm officially sponsored by Turner's Premium Tea. They are about to turn 90 years old, and it is pretty crazy. I mean, they got chocolate strawberry milk that's out. That's a limited run. That's coming out. It's out now. You can find it wherever you could find the limited edition teas. Check out their website. You could search for where they have their limited edition teas. And this is new to me, so I mean, it's going to get better every week from here as far as like the sharpness of my ad pitches, but be patient with me, Steve. Anyway, I'll call you right back across the board. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you like, what you dislike. Call me a piece of shit if you want. And thanks for listening as usual. Call you right back.